So who here remembers Darkness the Curse? He did a review of Shadow the Hedgehog and I commentated on it. I've got another one. This time it's Sonic R. Unlike Shadow the Hedgehog, however, I'm not a huge fan of this game. It was worth playing once, but I can never go back to it. It just doesn't have that appeal. How will this affect my commentary? Let's find out.
Oh my god! Please turn it off! Please, it's been 3 days!
Watch this facade he made about Tails' doll torturing him with Sonic R music. It's hilarious.
Why has it been 3 days? How long has it been? I don't remember! I've been forced to play this for so long! With the music playing in the background! Make it go away! Make it stop! Someone kill me! Please, someone kill me! Oh my god, what do we want to play now? He's selecting it for me! The Tails doll's in control! Oh god! Not Radical City again! Please! Have mercy! Don't make me play it anymore! Don't make me play it! What do you mean I have to start reviewing the game? What do you mean I need to stop my bitching and just review the game? Or you'll suck out my soul! Please have mercy, almighty Tails doll! Don't kill me! I'll review it! Sonic R! It's so wonderful! I love Sonic R! This is the greatest game of all time! I swear! Don't you just love these graphics? How everything's so blocky and just terrible? And listen to the music! It's Europop! Everyone loves Europop, right? I know I do! The controls are just so wonderful! I love how you can't turn or anything like that! After all, turning is for the weak! No one needs to turn anymore!
You're going to cover all of this in your review, so what's the point of this?
Everyone goes on and on through the goddamn race! The racing is so generic and unoriginal that I can't stand it anymore! The controls are terrible! The fucking...
Turn down the volume of your sound system. Your ears, and if you have speakers, everyone around you will thank you.
Freaking music keeps playing in the fucking background! I'm about to lose my goddamn mind! Someone turn on the fucking music! I swear to God, if I play it for 3 more fucking seconds! 3 more fucking seconds! I am gonna go nuts! Turn it off! Did you hear me, motherfucker? I can get on my street and turn it off! Thank you! Had enough to hear with your bullshit! That's right! I'm talking to you! Now it ends!
I think I'm gonna keep To the Vaults as a running gag for me. Also, remember Archie? According to someone else, Darkness the Curse made him. Also, prepare for a lot of screaming.
Sonic R has gotta be the worst fucking Sonic game I've ever played in my entire life! You wanna know what this shit is?
Hey Text, what have you ever done that was actually helpful?
I'll tell you what this shit is. It's nothing but a generic racer with nothing original about it in the slightest. I already brought up the controls. The controls are the worst controls I've had to deal with in any racer known to man.
You're jumping all over the place. Can you please explain why it's generic before you start talking about the controls? Thank you. Now right now I would normally say that the controls just take time to get used to, like every other Sonic game. But this game's replay value doesn't justify the means of getting used to the controls.
Why the hell can't I turn? Why can't I turn? Someone explain that to me! I'm running around, trying to turn around a tight corner. Will Sonic turn? No! Fuck no! It doesn't let you! I think I recall in my last review, it's never been proven before that apparently Sonic can turn on a dime.
His last review was Sonic 06. I'll get to that eventually. But I've just gotta say this. The part where he turns on the dime was in the Sonic CD intro. It was a movie. Name one game where he turned on a dime.
I mean, we've never seen that before in our entire life! Who the hell want this? And as for the characters, we have Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Dr. Robotnik. You also have a few other characters, like Mecha Knuckles, and the Eggman Robo, and of course the fucking Tails doll, along with Metal Sonic and Super Sonic. Do these characters sound original to you?
I came up with this argument in a whopping 5 seconds. You see, you can't play as the same character in versus mode. Sonic and Sonic doesn't work. So Metal Sonic is so if two people want to be Sonic and Metal Sonic, so they can be the same character without actually being the same character. Get it?
They're just mecha forms of the other characters! What happened to, I don't know, Fang! Fang the Sniper! Or Knack, if you want to call him that! Or the Chaotix! What happened to them?! Where the hell were they when they made this game?! Where were their brains?!
Turns out that sound fading in and out is actually the studio, not the footage. Also, Darkness's use of pronouns is very confusing. Where were they when they made this game?
Anyway, I brought up the music, and the music is perhaps the most annoying, crappy shit I've ever heard in my entire goddamn life. Going around, listening to this crap, playing in your ear. I mean, with songs like Can You Feel the Sunshine and Living in the City and Supersonic Racing, does that sound like fun to listen to? Yes! Yes! Fuck no! It's a pain in the ass to listen to. It will make your ears bleed!
Wow, even more than you're yelling?
I apologize for the screaming, but as you can hear in my voice, I am fed up with this shit! A lot of you have defended this game, and with all due respect, I hate this game so fucking much! And it's not because I suck at it. No. In fact, when you think about it, the controls are really bad, but there's another griping issue. The fact that the game is too easy! That's right, too easy. You don't even have to stay on the goddamn all over the place. Meaning you can make shortcuts for yourself. Shortcuts for yourself! This is the stupidest concept in the entire world.
I don't see how so. Tons of racing games have shortcuts. Even Mario Kart. And I love it.
Entire world! Why doesn't it make you stay on the track, or at least give you the option to take certain shortcuts? It makes the game too easy, especially when you're a character like the Tails doll or Eggman, who happen to be able to float over water. That's the cheapest thing in the entire world.
People can float over water that others can easily jump over? No, stop. I don't want that joke to get old.
Of course, the AI barely ever does this, because the AI is the most retarded AI in the entire universe!
Interesting claim you made there. Here's my counter-argument.
The only smart one is Supersonic, and that's another issue. If you are playing against Supersonic, he will kick your ass! Well, no, not necessarily. It depends what map and what character you're playing. Like, for example, I have beaten Supersonic with, say, Metal Sonic, or regular Sonic. Well, no, not regular Sonic, because that's another issue.
I'm going to repeat myself from my last commentary on you. Either edit out your mistakes, or take some acting school where you can do it all in one shot. That is, without screwing up. Also, structure your reviews, please.
The fact is, the characters are always set up in the same way. It starts with the first 5 characters. It's separated into 2 groups, the first 5 characters and the last 5 characters. If you play as any of the first 5 characters, meaning Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, or Dr. Robotnik, the AIs will be either Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Robotnik. If you play as the other 5, the AIs will be one of them. So it's always set. So if you play as Metal Sonic, the Tails doll, Mecha Knuckles, or the Eggman Robo, you will always be racing against Supersonic.
But what if you haven't unlocked all the characters yet?
And the Tails doll, especially on the map you're looking at right now.
Just tell me all the stages that you can beat Supersonic on, and all the ones that you can't, please.
Which is the Radiant Emerald. It is impossible to beat him. I swear to God. I don't care what kind of gamer you are.
I'm looking back at your video, and I noticed that you said that this game was too easy. Looks like you got a challenge.
I spent 3 damn hours trying to beat Metal Sonic on Radiant Emerald with the Tails doll, and it is impossible! I took every known combination, got every single ring. I couldn't do it! Don't even try! Or, if someone can do it, I want to see fucking proof!
Here's a video by Zero Badniks. I'm gonna speed it up because it gets boring very quickly.
Oh my god! The multiplayer isn't even that good! There's only 5 fucking tracks to select from! Give us more variety!
If you hate the game so much, the fact that it's short should be a good thing.
And as for the unlockable characters, the maps have coins in them. You collect all 5 coins in each map, which tend to be scattered around, so you have to go off the track to find them. It will allow you to, you know, play as one of the characters, as one of the unlockable characters. Or each fucking map is one of the Chaos Emeralds. Collect all 7, and you get Supersonic. Collecting the Chaos Emeralds again. Where have I seen this before? Oh, in minus Sonic CD, practically every single Sonic game before this! At this point, they should be coming out with more of original concept regarding plot. You want to hear the plot? Apparently, Sonic and Tails were running along, ran into a sign that offered a race for the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic notices that Dr. Robotnik is participating, so he runs off to join the race. This is the stupidest idea in the entire world! A race for the Chaos Emeralds? Are you shitting me?
I thought people complained when Sonic games' plots were way too complicated. I've never heard someone complain about it being too simple.
Who came up with that? That is the dumbest plot I've ever heard! There's not a variety in characters, there's no plot here, and as for the graphics, well, you know, the graphics is the one thing I might not be able to harp on, because considering it was on the Sega Saturn, the graphics aren't too shitty. I mean, Knights looked better in my opinion, but this game does look a bit better than Panzer Dragoon did. I'm not saying Panzer Dragoon's a bad game because it has a lot better gameplay than this, but as far as graphics goes, the game isn't that terrible. I mean, it looks alright, I guess, and there's even atmospheric conditions, which happen to be completely random!
Atmospheric conditions don't change the race much, and yet you're yelling about it.
That's right, the atmospheric conditions are random! You can't choose as far as atmospheric conditions goes. And the multiplayer, we have a standard race, I guess is kind of interesting, and collect the balloons. And the balloons are always in places where you can never get to them. Well, you can get to them, but it's too damn hard. I swear. It just...
Don't keep changing your thought.
Oh, what did they do? This is all they have to offer in terms of the Sega Saturn. This is the only original Sonic game for the Sega Saturn. Well, besides Sonic 3D Blast, but that was available on the Sega Genesis.
If it's not original, why'd you bring it up?
And that game wasn't that good either. The game's just a waste of goddamn time. Never, ever, ever find yourself playing this game. Never! I'm done! Have a nice fucking day!
Come on now, race! Everybody supersonic racing. Try to keep your feet right on the ground. When you're supersonic racing, there's no time to look around. We're just supersonic racing, running to the point of no return.
Notice how the footage that he played on the left side of the video during his final score was played earlier in the review. So yeah, whether or not I like the game doesn't actually change that much. Also, I want to show you this. It turns out that he doesn't record his own footage, he just takes someone else's. If I just did that, I would be able to make reviews every single week.
This year for April Fool's Day, I'm being double subversive. Normally I do a list that's not related to video games, but this time, to be unexpected, I am doing something that is related to video games. So yes, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is my favorite iteration in the franchise thus far. But that doesn't mean there aren't any changes that I wish did not happen. And so, as you can imagine having clicked on this video, I'm going to be counting down the top 5 best and worst changes coming into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Keep in mind that this is my own personal opinion, though I will try to argue the reasons why it is my personal opinion. If you don't like it, feel free to create your own lists of the top 5 best and worst changes. Skipping the intro, and just like a fully charged Smash attack, let's jump right into it. One of the best parts about Super Smash Bros. That has helped with its longevity is that it's so dang customizable. However, until Ultimate, this meant that you had to change the rules manually every time you wanted to do something different. Now with Ultimate, you can create rule sets, add labels to help remember them, and then use them interchangeably. Some that I've made include Pokeballs only on high on Pokemon only stages, and Final Destination no item stamina battle a la Street Fighter. For the number 5 worst change, we have to talk about voice acting. This is Takashi Nagasako, voice actor extraordinaire. He has voiced many different roles, however we're interested in only 2 today. First of all, he's the current voice of Donkey Kong, but you wouldn't know that because Sakurai and crew have elected to use ape noises again. Now why would this count as a change if they've been doing it all along? Well, you see, with Ultimate, they actually called Takashi back into the studio to voice his other character, Ocarina of Time Ganondorf. It had been about 20 years since Takashi recorded for Ganondorf, and let's just say that it shows. Now, I am generally of the opinion that bad voice acting is the fault of the director, not the actor himself. Just look at Fox between Smash 4 and Smash Ultimate. Can you believe they're the same person? So basically, the voice director called in Takashi, ignored the potential for any Donkey Kong lines, heard Takashi voice Ganondorf as if he were a 75-year-old man and said, "This is okay, I want this in my game," and ignored any potential of having the original Melee lines within Ultimate, which were completely fine. All of these combined make the voice director's handling of Takashi Nagasako the 5th worst change coming into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. With each new Smash iteration, one step that Sakurai and crew enjoy doing is making sure that they diversify clones further. With Everyone Is Here, I was worried they weren't even going to bother changing some of the characters. Fortunately, I was completely incorrect. Looping back to Ganondorf, he uses his sword in Smash attacks, helping diversify him from Captain Falcon and cementing his place as the King of Evil. They have made Pichu more in line with a baby rattlesnake, being unable to control how much venom it releases in harming its opponent. With Dr. Mario, they've changed his throws, his down air attack, and I'm pretty sure they've made his recovery worse, differentiating him from Mario. Congratulations, Dr. Mario, you are no longer the worst Smash character. No, that title now belongs to Daisy, and what a transition this is. The 4th worst new aspect of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the inclusion of certain Echo Fighters. Okay, so it seems weird to me that they would put in a lot of effort into making Chrom different from Roy, and Ken different from Ryu, but they decided to make Daisy and Peach the exact same character. Actually, no, wait, it turns out 3 months after the release of the game, people have finally found a difference. Their turnips have slightly different knockback. Simon and Richter are also almost exactly the same, with the down special not doing fire-based damage for Richter. Wow, and here I was thinking Lucina and Dark Pit were scraping the bottom. Now, it's cool that they use Echo Fighters as a label to help differentiate these characters as extra content. However, if they aren't different quite like Ken is, then they really should just be alternate costumes. The 3rd best change is the inclusion of different and unique classic modes for each fighter. Generally, they follow a certain theme or gimmick. Isabelle faces off against every single female fighter, Roy faces off against every single sword fighter, Shulk fights different characters that represent the different stances of the Monado, and Sonic has a really interesting one. He faces off different characters that are supposed to represent his games. For example, he'll fight a giant Incineroar as a substitute for Zarvok. I think that's pretty creative. Some of them tend to be a little too similar. Link and Falco both involve fighting dark and evil characters. However, for the most part, this gets a thumbs up from me. Now, the 3rd worst change is what they've done with Zelda, both the character and the series. They've changed her back into a blonde-haired, pink-dressed princess, as if we didn't already have one of those. Now, I understand that a lot of people prefer this version of Zelda over the Twilight Princess version, but hear me out for a second. 99% of their animations are the same, and they already have all of the relevant assets. It would take almost no man-hours at all to include Twilight Princess Zelda as an alternate costume. Heck, why even stop there? You can have an alternate outfit for Ocarina of Time Zelda, Ocarina of Time Adult Link, Twilight Princess Link, and Twilight Princess Ganondorf. The last one could be especially cool if he uses the Sword of the Six Sages for his smash attacks. You mean to tell me that they could have 2 different voice sets for Ike, but they couldn't do this for the Zelda characters? How can they say that everyone is here if some of the characters from The Legend of Zelda are missing? Maybe they'll include them in a future update, but I wouldn't hold my breath. In the meantime, I know which alternate costume I'm using for Zelda. In Brawl, 3DS, and Wii U, the only counterplay to assist trophies was avoidance. With Ultimate, you can smack them around and knock them out as if they were actual fighters in the game. They can even knock themselves out. Now, of course, this doesn't apply to every single assist trophy, but when it comes to the ones you can beat up, it's a change I never knew I needed until it happened. In 3DS and Wii U, Bayonetta was able to cancel her taunts by attacking. With Ultimate, the developers had a fork in the road. They could either remove this from Bayonetta, or they could give it to everyone. And they made the wrong decision. The amount of time during a taunt that you are truly vulnerable is about, what, 50 frames? Afterwards, you could just attack like nothing happened. This is absolutely outrageous. The entire point of a taunt is to sit there slack-jawed, buggy-eyed, and show off your vulnerability to your opponent while they can't do anything about it. That's pretty much all I have to say about the second worst change in Ultimate, but while I'm here I might as well add, what was the point of removing taunts in Quick Play? It was obvious people were going to start spamming substitutes such as Wario's farts. Real quick before we get to the number ones, honorable and dishonorable mentions. I've noticed that when playing random you are a lot more likely to get the default color scheme than in previous games. 9 times out of 10 I prefer this, so that's a thumbs up from me. On the other hand, the classic progression system is a little bit iffy. Because 5.0 is the highest starting point, the first 2 or 3 rounds is basically just speedrunning to get to the higher difficulties. Plus, the game doesn't factor in the scenario's intrinsic difficulties. I was able to get to 9.8 on King K. Rool day 1, first time trying King K. Rool. This is partly because every single stage is a one-on-one. Meanwhile, with Dr. Mario, it's always 3-on-1 against you, so you'll be pulling your hair out in no time. Oh, you won with over 100% damage because you were up against 3 Robs? Don't care, have fun in 8.2, idiot. Moving on, the single best change in Ultimate is one you probably haven't given a lot of thought about, but it's been in front of you the entire time. Decimal percentages. Imagine you're on the development team and you want to make the quickest jab in the game stronger. Let's say it currently does 2% damage. In both versions of Smash 4, the least you could buff it by was 1 damage, a 50% increase. Decimals allow for much finer tuning and balancing. In the case of our jab example, we can increase the damage by 1/10 of a point. That's only a 5% increase. This finer tuning should allow for balancing without going too far in the opposite direction. And now we get to the worst change in Ultimate. They completely butchered Final Smashes. Now before Ultimate, there were a lot of repeat Final Smashes. 3 Landmasters, Mario and Dr. Mario, things like that. However, with Ultimate, they've turned it up to 11. Kirby, Donkey Kong, Little Mac, Simon, and Fox all have the same Final Smash. Attack directly in front of you, and, if you land it, beat people up. Yoshi, Wario, Ridley, and King K. Rool all have the same Final Smash. Attack in a line and play a cutscene on whoever you hit. Hey, young Link has never had a Final Smash before. Should we come up with something interesting? Nah man, try Force Slash. There are still some unique Final Smashes, Zelda and Bayonetta come to mind, however they are few and far between. What a sad state of affairs.